Hideo Kojima is one of those creators who, whenever he steps on the stage, leaves people holding their breath. For years, Kojima's works has blended film, gameplay, narrative, technology, and mystery in ways few others attempt, from Metal Gear to Death Stranding. Kojima marked its 10th anniversary with an event called Beyond the Strand, and the announcements were wide-ranging. A new horror game, an ambitious AR walking experience, updates on Death Stranding adaptations, and a lot more. One of the centerpieces of the announcements was OD, now fully subtitled OD Knock, Kojima's horror title being developed with Xbox Game Studios. It's being developed on Unreal Engine 5, and from the start, Kojima and Xbox have been clear that this isn't just a simple horror game, it's being designed as both a game and a film, a so-called new form of media that leans heavily into psychological terror and the testing of human fear thresholds. When the first trailer debuted during the 10-year anniversary stream, it immediately set the tone. Sophia Lillis's character surrounded by ritual candles, the sound of ominous echoing knocks, and unsettling noises that conjured memories of PT, Kojima's canceled Silent Hill project. The imagery wasn't flashy or gory, but deliberately suffocating, the kind of atmosphere where dread creeps in through the smallest details. The cast itself reinforces this approach, with Sophia Lillis, Udo Kier, and Hunter Schafer stepping into roles that seem carefully chosen for their ability to bring intensity and vulnerability to such a claustrophobic setting. Kojima and Xbox's Phil Spencer even hinted that the game's infrastructure is totally new, suggesting that what lies underneath OD Knock isn't just a technical leap, but an experiment in systems that we haven't seen before in games. Interestingly, the very concept of fear within Knock is more specific than most horror titles. Rather than broad supernatural terror, Kojima has hinted that it will center on the primal unease of knocking itself, the loud, unexpected thud on a door or wall that instantly unsettles us. He even suggested that Jordan Peele's contributions could expand on this, with different chapters exploring entirely separate fears, each one presented in its own unique way. Yet, as ambitious as this all sounds, development hasn't been smooth. Both OD Knock and Kojima's other major project, Physint, were hit hard by the SAG-AFTRA strike. Casting, environment scanning, and motion capture were all forced to pause, leaving the projects in limbo until production could resume. Still, the fact that Kojima is attempting to push horror into a new territory, technologically, narratively, emotionally, suggests that OD Knock could be the next major milestone in his ongoing experiment to blur the line between cinema and interactive storytelling of video games, all the while pushing the horror genre further beyond just visuals and jump scares, but with blending media, atmosphere, and technology in unusual forms. Kojima's collaboration with Niantic Spatial marks one of his boldest experiments yet, as the two companies are working on an augmented reality walking game that leverages Niantic's geospatial AI to scan real-world objects and make them interactive. Rather than limiting itself to consoles or headsets, the project seems designed for phones or AR glasses, with Kojima himself describing it as an effort to liberate games from the screen and connect players not with just one another, but with their actual environments. He even went as far as to compare it to a real Death Stranding in the real world, suggesting an experience where players forge bonds and connections by physically moving through their own cities. During the Beyond the Strand event, Kojima offered a first glimpse with a live-action trailer called A New Dawn, which depicted a person wearing AR glasses and interacting with holographic artifacts layered seamlessly over urban and natural spaces. While the project doesn't yet have a title or release window, its significance is already clear. Kojima is merely moving from console experiences into VR. He's pushing towards a future where the physical and digital worlds merge, treating the real world itself as his canvas for interactive storytelling. While most people associate Death Stranding with its video game installments, Kojima is steadily transforming the series into a broader transmedia universe, with 2 film adaptations now in the works, 1 animated and 1 live action. At the recent showcase, new visuals were revealed for both projects. The animated film, titled Mosquito, offered a trailer that expands the mythos of the Death Stranding world, while the live-action adaptation from A24 also received updates signaling that the production is finally moving forward. For Kojima, these films serve as a way to reinforce his long-standing belief that stories aren't confined to a single medium, but can thrive through multiple forms of expression. Even though specifics like casting and release dates are still under wraps, these projects highlight Kojima's ongoing obsession with blurring the boundary between cinema and interactive entertainment, proving that for him, Death Stranding is more than a game, it's definitely a narrative ecosystem. Kojima's next big project, one that I'm very excited for, Physint, stands apart as both his most secretive and his most anticipated work. First unveiled during Sony's State of Play broadcast in January 2024, the game was introduced under a working title and only a few carefully chosen details. Kojima called it a stealth and espionage project, immediately setting off a wave of speculation that this would serve as the closest thing to a successor for his Metal Gear series. While he has never outright confirmed that lineage, Kojima has hinted that the spirit of espionage, tension, and tactical play that defined his earlier works will return here in new form. For many fans, myself included, that's all they needed to hear to start building excitement. The showcase announcement was accompanied by Kojima's description of the project as something with the scale and presentation of a film, but he emphasized that at its core, it is still an interactive experience. That clarification is important. While the line between games and cinema has always been a favorite theme in his career, here Kojima seems more interested in using cinematic presentation as a tool rather than entire identity of the project. In that way, Physint could strike a balance rooted in the traditions of stealth action, but expanded through the kinds of performances, visuals, and design choices that Kojima's team has been known for. A fresh visual was revealed during the Beyond the Strand event, giving fans their first glimpse of the game's artistic direction. It was an evocative piece, striking the same balance Kojima often leans on, military precision mixed with something more surreal and dreamlike. Alongside the reveal, the first 3 cast members were announced, signaling that the casting and performance capture are officially underway. While the full roster hasn't been disclosed yet, this step confirms that Kojima is already laying the groundwork for the kind of star-powered performances his games usually rely on. What makes Physint especially notable in Kojima Productions' current lineup is how personally Kojima is guiding it. With OD demanding a large share of the studio's resources, Physint has, for now, become a project that is driving more directly in its conceptual phase. This is a return to more hands-on style for Kojima, and while the project is still in its early life cycle, that approach suggests that the final product will carry his personal stamp more strongly than some of his recent collaborations. Patience, however, will be essential. Kojima has already confirmed that Physint is still 5 to 6 years away from completion, which puts its release well into the latter half of this decade. Development has also faced obstacles beyond the studio's control. I already mentioned the SAG-AFTRA strike, so casting had to be suspended, delaying momentum on key aspects of the production. These setbacks underline just how complex large-scale performance-driven projects like this can be, especially when they depend on both technological development and the availability of high-profile actors. Despite the long road ahead, Physint already feels like a defining project for Kojima's future. This is a chance for him to revisit the kind of tactical storytelling that built his legacy while pushing into new territory shaped by the lessons of his past decade. Even though the wait will be long, the promise of Physint has already sparked the kind of speculation and anticipation that only Kojima can generate, ensuring that it will remain a focal point for fans eager to see where his imagination leads next. In sum, Kojima Productions used its 10th anniversary Beyond the Strand event to give fans a clear sense of what lies ahead. OD Knock promises horror with cinematic and experimental ambition, while the AR collaboration with Niantic Spatial seeks to take play off screens and back into the real world. Death Stranding films continue the saga across both animation and live action, expanding the story beyond gaming, and Physint emerges as perhaps Kojima's boldest, most long-term project, blending espionage, stealth, style, and cinematic narrative. Across all these endeavors, the same core impulses are visible: a drive to push technological boundaries, experiment with storytelling, and explore atmosphere, fear, and immersion in other ways that few others attempt. Kojima is clearly not resting on his past successes, he's charting new territory. For me, Physint stands out among everything on the slate. The idea of Kojima personally taking a lead, crafting something that draws on his past brilliance while attempting to evolve, offers a rare chance to imagine a game that could redefine expectations. 5 to 6 years may be a long wait, but if history is any guide, when Physint finally arrives, it could be one of those rare projects that reshape what we think games are capable of achieving. Which brings me back to the change of an era for RPGs that Baldur's Gate 3 accomplished, which I do cover in another video, so do check that out. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. My name's been Suka. I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.